All right, hey folks, we are live. Here we are at Hammerway, and I know that I usually have some music going. There we go. That's what happens. But the internet is being a real bitch today. I don't know what the deal is, but here we are with Rev James from Baby and the Nobodies.
How's it going?
It is going great, man. So many great bands out there that I'm learning about and hearing about, and some of it is because there's a lot of singles and EPs and then eventually full albums, and just it's what I love, covering on this program a lot of the times is just stuff that it's not always easy to get the word out, right?
Great. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I had a friend of mine ask me, why do you want to do this? And I regard him very highly, and there's a lot of musicians out there that probably know who he is, but I don't need to talk about who he is here. But I worked with him years ago. Brilliant mind, and he's got his own amp company now that he does. So he goes to the NAMM show. But he asked me, why do I want to do this? And I said, I just kind of eventually I thought about it for just a few seconds. I said, I want to put my money where my mouth is. As if I'm telling people who are saying there's no good music out there anymore, or there's nobody making music like we used to listen to, or,
Right.
just not anything good. I don't want to say that everybody's recycling what's been done. But no matter what Gene Simmons says, no matter what an idol he was to me growing up, and how much I still regard all the cool things that he did over the years, and the
Yeah.
reasons that I liked him, rock ain't dead, and it never will be. And I said, if I believe in that, I got to start talking about it. So
That that sounds brilliant.
yeah,
Appreciate that. And I'm so glad that there are people out there like you doing this,
yeah,
because without you, most people wouldn't hear of bands like us and our friends and
yeah,
things like that. So yeah, it's great.
yeah. Um, tell me about tell me about the band. How long you've been doing this with the band, and the folks in the band, um, and we'll work through all that. But that's what I really want to know.
Wow. Well, this band has been around for a little while in our local scene,
Hmm.
since about 2015.
Okay.
Um, and our singer, Rebecca, who wanted to be here today but couldn't, unfortunately. Um, I kind of put the band together around her voice. She she sang something to me one time off the cuff, and I'm like, wow, we need to do something with that. So,
She can
and
sing.
I was in between bands at the time, and so I just like put a band together, and we did it. We've had a lot of different lineup changes trying to just get the right people.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last 4 or 5 years, we've got Dana Sims on drums, and we've got a guy named Tyler Sweet playing second guitar. I'm Rev, I play guitar. Rebecca sings, and we just recently got a hold of a guy named Lonnie playing bass guitar, and he definitely fills out the sound in the circle. So um, yeah, it's
Yeah.
we love doing this. We've been doing it for a while. So yeah.
Very nice. What is the as far as next uh what's your next upcoming show? Do you guys have a regular schedule? You keep pretty busy?
Yeah, we have a fairly regular schedule.
Okay.
Our next show coming up is, I'm going to say the date wrong because I don't really handle a lot of that. I think it's like
Okay.
June 18th or something like that at El Corazon in Seattle. Um, and we're opening for the Dolly Rots.
Cool.
So yeah, that should be a pretty fun show. But yeah, we have a pretty regular schedule most of the time,
Sweet.
um, around here all the time.
I was going to say, yeah, and you're up in Seattle, right?
Yes, we're in Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you know, in my rock and roll experience, it's, you either look at it in a good way or you look at it in a lot of people look at it uh, in a great way because they love that 90s grunge. They dig it. They love it.
Right.
You know, I meet up with a lot of people who just are in that age range.
Right.
So just a little younger than me, I'll look at them and I'll say, "Oh, you're really into the okay. You're that much younger than me, so yep, I get it."
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, for me, I had nothing against the '90s grunge thing. I didn't quite understand it all, um, and it wasn't my favorite thing. But there were a lot of bands that I did like out of that time frame, and some great
Right.
songs, great music.
Yeah.
Um, I
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of got tired of everybody using that as an excuse because the corporate world wasn't looking for that which I fell in love with and that I liked,
Right.
that came from the '80s. So, and some of those bands they weren't writing honest music anyway.
Right.
You know, they were a bunch of skinny dudes that made it rich and they didn't know what to write about next. And so,
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. But
who all writes in your band?
actually we all do. Everybody always says we all do, but we actually all do. I kind of tend to be the one that brings the songs to the table as
Okay,
like written songs,
gotcha.
but I get together with the other guys and we come up with riffs
Yeah,
and things like that. And Rebecca comes up with melody ideas and lyrics. You know, it's really a group effort for the most part.
yeah, yeah. What do you think? Do you guys have a certain style of lyrical content that you guys stick with? Is there, or does it vary for, you know?
It is very, very varied. um, I mean, it really is kind of all over the gambit. Even just on this new record, there's like I don't even think there's a real like a, a theme. There kind of
Okay.
maybe is a little bit like dark personal relationship type thing, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
but at the same time, we've got songs that are angry, we got songs that are political, we've got songs that are, fuck you songs.
Right,
We've
right.
got it all.
We do it all from love you to fuck you. We just that's and
Exactly.
somewhere in between a lot of times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, that's pretty wild. But no,
Yeah.
the other thing that did come to mind, and I just saw it here in your information too, is that when I said a good things and whatever things about the music from that scene, I mean, I fell in love with Queensryche, who was from that area. So,
Oh yeah.
I picked up The Warning on a whim. It was one of those that'll end up in one of my shows
Right.
as I bought this for the album cover.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
if,
no, and growing up around here and getting to go, one of my first bands, my first record that I recorded in a pro studio,
mhm.
we recorded with the guy that did Queensryche stuff. So,
Wow.
um, it was Tom Hall, and he actually did the audio engineering for Operation Live Crime. So,
Oh my
you know,
God.
um, it was an awesome person to get to meet and to get to like hang out with and talk to about the music scene and everything like that. So yeah, it was a good experience.
It's really, and you mentioned that he was the engineer on that, correct?
Right.
Right. Yeah. I think it's really one of these days I have to go down that list of people who engineered albums over the years, right? Because
Right.
you got Alan Parsons with Pink Floyd, you've got Martin Birch with Deep Purple, you know, all
Right.
these people who went on to do grand and amazing things.
Right.
And you're like,
Exactly.
yeah, they were an engineer on that record. You're like, what?
Right.
Wow, that's pretty wild. You
Yeah.
know, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So then now you guys have, tell me about you have how many EPs? Because EPs are a huge thing these days.
Um, huh. Two
Oh,
or
okay.
three, maybe four. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
We
I could
actually,
look it up too.
yeah. Well, I mean, we actually have like, things that we released ourselves
Oh, yeah. Okay.
for years prior. And I think there's like three of those were EPs, and one was a full length. And then now now that we're with F Bomb Records, they're putting out the 8 song, um, which isn't really an EP, but it's not really a full album either. So
I know, right?
it's one of those things. It was going to be an EP. It was only going to have 6 songs, and then when we were in the studio actually recording uh, with Jonathan Plum from London Bridge Studios in Seattle.
Okay.
Um, Myself and the other guitar player, just kind of decided to throw 2 more songs at everybody
Gotcha.
and made them learn 2 songs. and,
Now, you
and
guys
now
have
you have
you guys have the
it.
new single that's going to be coming out called "Bombs Away," which comes out on the 30th, right? The video it's out on the 30th.
Actually, the single is out already,
Yeah.
and the record, which is called Ready or Not, is going to be
Right.
out on the
Correct.
30th. Yeah.
Okay.
but
All
but
right.
yeah,
Thanks.
the lyric video just dropped not long ago, 4 Bombs Away. That is the first single off that
All right.
record. So yeah.
Thanks for clearing that up for me. Yeah, I saw that the video, the lyric video is out there and everything,
Yeah.
right? People can
Yeah.
check that out. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
all right, good. So get out there and check that out. It says in your information too, it says with Ready or Not, we have the follow-up to 22's favorite Long Way Home, the
Correct.
band's third release. So it's written primarily during the pandemic. How I know I was talking with another band prior about that time frame for you guys. What I don't really want to have to drag anybody through all that again. But it's always my uh, interest. I think it's for everybody to see just how did you just in a brief synopsis, how did you view that whole time frame and did it have a temporary long lasting effect where you're like, what the hell are we going to do now?
um Excuse me. Yeah, totally. It definitely had a temporary long lasting effect. We actually had a West Coast tour booked, um and a record release for Long Way Home, all booked, and we weren't able to really do that. So we kind of we released a single off of it, and it did pretty good. But we had a lot of time to just kind of hang out, um,
Gotcha.
and write and rehearse and write some more and rehearse some more and everything like that. So it's like, we definitely kind of had still had our musical outlet.
Hmm.
We just couldn't get out and play in front of people.
Right.
So definitely
Right.
temporary, long-lasting effects.
Yeah. Did you was now you had you were on the West Coast. What was the feeling like out there? I'm in the Midwest, so it's I know that how different it is through the different
um,
areas.
without really going there quite. Washington's a very, 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 as far left as you can possibly get, left-wing state.
Mhm.
Um, so we had a lot of issues and a lot of outcry with our against our governor, I guess you could say, but
Yeah,
I don't know. It really wasn't. I don't really think it was that bad.
that's cool.
Rebecca works at a mall, so that
Mm,
she was obviously affected.
right.
Um, I'm a web developer, so I can work anywhere. So I
Gotcha.
never even had a day off.
You're like, oh
So
man.
you know, it was one of those things. But yeah, I mean, it was it was definitely a big deal. There was a lot more rumors than there was truth to anything.
Yeah.
Um, we'd take off and go drive. We'd go out to the coast. Everybody was staying home. We were kind of going out and hanging out by ourselves in
Yeah.
nature and stuff. So,
That's cool. That's cool.
yeah,
Yeah, we I guess everything shut down in uh March here because I was over in Europe, came back, and then went back to work, and everything shut down. And
yeah,
then by August, me and some buddies were doing the open jam at a club out here, just over the river in St. Charles, St. Peter's area.
yeah,
So, you're like, you're what? Yeah, we're just doing it, you know.
yeah,
Uh, I wasn't worried about it at
right,
all. I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, if I get it, I'll be sick for a bit, and then my body will
right,
get stronger and I'll be better. That's what I
exactly,
understand about myself. I realize not everybody's like that.
right,
And, so that's really the tough part, I think. And I think that's the same way with anything, right? It's the same thing with, I don't care if nothing's wrong and you're playing in a band, everybody deals with stuff differently.
right,
So,
exactly. And
you
there's
know,
always going to be stuff that you have to deal with too.
yeah, right.
you
Yeah.
know,
And there's some of us who are fine with some little change or some, having to learn two more songs. And
right,
sometimes there's days where you're like, well, normally I'd be okay with this, but learning two more songs right now, oh my God.
right, yeah.
But, Salvatore is here with us today. Good afternoon, sir. Good to see you. Anybody out there, you got any questions, please throw them on in. Now, you have a crap ton of guitars behind you.
Oh,
And,
oh yeah, I do.
oh, that's right. That's right. So what do you normally, are there a lot of things, is your gear different as far as your recording, as opposed to your playing out?
Not not as a rule.
Okay.
Obviously when I'm in the studio, maybe there's a song that I want to, throw a strat on or something like that
Yep.
for a little piece. Um, but generally live, I either play Les Pauls or Tellys, and they're like modern Tellys. So, humbucker, basically a Les Paul with a bolt-on neck.
What kind
But
of rig do
yeah,
you like to play through live?
well, okay. So I've got an endorsement with Orange Amplification,
Nice.
and I play their Rockiverb 50,
Sweet.
um, pretty much exclusively.
Okay. Yeah,
um,
those are punchy amps, man. They're great.
yeah, no, when I was touring over in the UK,
Hmm.
they gave us a whole back line, and I just fell in love with them. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I definitely followed through with the endorsement because I absolutely love their amps, and they're so versatile, especially the middle of the road ones like the Mark IIs, with the attenuator and everything like that. You can have it cranked and get the most beautiful tone out of it, and still turn it down, and it doesn't affect the tone. It's awesome.
No doubt. No doubt. Where do you usually if you're playing let's say you're playing a club, a
Yeah.
big club, smaller club, whatever it is, where do you position your amp as a guitar player behind you?
Um, Odd question. Generally, because I'm off. Okay, so like I'm off on stage left, so
Hmm. Hmm.
it's generally kind of parallel with the drummer, like where they're sitting, and
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
slightly turn towards them a little bit.
Interesting.
But generally, most of the sound that you hear in the crowd is coming out of the microphone anyway. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. So you go ahead, yeah, because you go ahead and mic your amp. It depends on the place. I mean, I'm playing some smaller clubs when I play here,
yeah,
and sometimes it's like, okay, let's just keep it down a little bit. This is not an auditorium.
right.
This is a club, and you gotta know how to work that. I just was wondering because sometimes, when people play in a club or something, it's the positioning of the amp isn't in the best spot for hearing. So I'm
Yeah.
always just kind of
Well,
wondering about that,
it
you know?
really depends on how big the club is, too. I mean,
Hmm.
I've been on stages where there's not enough room for my amp. So, it's
Yeah.
kind of sitting sideways facing either myself or the bartender. But, it just depends on how big the stages are and stuff like that
Well,
too. But
bartenders are people too. They need to hear.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Bartenders are people too, and don't forget to tip your bartender.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So tell me about some of the guitars that are behind you. Is there anything special about any of those that are behind you that you want to talk about? I love a
um
telly, man.
yeah, I mean, I built some of them,
Oh,
so
wow. All
you
right.
know, um
And
well,
is there a special oh, there you go.
I got it right there.
Mm,
Built that. Um, this guy back here I built.
nice.
But yeah, it's just I I just really enjoy making different guitars sound different, like
Mhm.
combining different types of wood,
Right.
different pickups, things like that. So I've always been like in love with tone. So
Hmm.
I'm a typical guitar player. I'm always on the search for the perfect tone,
Right.
and I'll never find
I know.
it.
I, I have a friend of mine. I talk about him a lot here because it's worth it because he passed away in December, and
Sorry to hear
he's
that.
the guy that really. Um, I have a couple of people to thank for when I started playing. First of all, there was my band leader at church, um, and
Yeah.
she just kind of let me learn the bass just by playing. She didn't shut me down a lot. I did a lot of stuff, but then also my friend Guy Kingsbury, and so much so that he asked me after I'd been doing it only for a little while. He's like, "Do you want to do a band?" I'm like, "Sure."
Nice.
I don't know. And so we did it, and it was great. And I remember calling him after I jammed with Keel on their rehearsal stage, and called him, and I said, "Dude, just want to make sure I say thank you because I just jammed,
Nice.
Grand Funk with Keel on the stage, on the rehearsal stage." So, um, so that's always it's always been a great thing that he was always searching for the tone. He
Right.
would come to I don't know. I could say it this way, Rev, because this is the way it felt. He'd show up to every gig. Oh man, I just got this new thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
son of a bitch. I hope it makes it through the rest of the night. That's all.
Right.
That's all I care. Is that you get to play the whole gig with this
Yeah.
new piece of equipment that usually goes out. But, you know,
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I've got Marshalls, I've got Soldanos, I've got all kinds of outboard gear, pedals, stuff like that. I don't even use pedals anymore. I just plug into my orange with my Tele or my Les Paul. So
wow.
that's that's it. I mean, I've got a tuner pedal.
Now, when you're thinking about tone, when you're thinking about as a guitar player, who are some of the folks that come to mind for you straight ahead when you think about tone? What do you want? I know you want to find a good tone, but is there somebody that you like to follow as far as tone?
That is probably a conversation for like 24 hours locked in a room somewhere. But
Set up a few beers, whatever you want to
yeah,
drink.
I mean, I've always loved the tone that Stevie Ray Vaughan got, and
Yeah,
I absolutely love that glassy tone that Eric Johnson gets.
yeah.
But I love that Les Paul through a Marshall tone that Randy Rhoads always had, and
Hmm.
Tracy Guns. I love all of that stuff. I don't know if any of them would actually work for me perfectly. I
Right,
don't think so,
right.
because I'm one of those people that it's never perfect. So
What if I threw a couple out at you? What about Pat Travers?
Pat Travers' tone is 100% in the fingers. I know that. That dude can pick up a guitar, any guitar, and play through any amp, and it's going to sound like Pat Travers.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting, interesting. Um, One other person I was thinking about was Robin Trower.
Oh, wow. Um, Probably, man.
I know, right? It's a beautiful. Let's just say it's a beautiful tone. It is.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely no beating it, but
Yeah, yeah,
um, you know, have I ever been in a situation that called for that? Not really, but
yeah. I get that. Right.
um,
Yeah,
man, if I could, I would. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. It's an appreciative. I mean, those everybody we've talked about, and all the ones that we haven't,
Right. Well, yeah,
are definitely all in the arena. Um,
right,
it's just when I think about Robin Trower, he's got a certain tone, and like you said with and Stevie Ray Vaughan, they have that.
right,
They both come from the blues feel, so it's just a beautiful. Uh, it's a beautiful beast a lot of times because
right, right. And
there's
it's that twin reverb,
yeah, it's
probably through another extension cabinet with who knows. Yeah,
right, right.
exactly.
It's only an engineer could help us with that, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's what we ought to do. Is get an engineer on the show and a cooler of beer, and we'll just do it.
That sounds like a show, man.
That does sound like a show. I think we do that one live out there, and I'll come visit my friend out there as well. We have my wife and I have a friend from college who lives out there now,
Nice.
and she's been out there for decades by now, and we have never gone to visit her, but we'll have to do that, and I'll get a hold
You
of her
need
while
to. Yeah.
yeah, we'll just do a
Just
show from there.
Just make sure you come in the summertime, which is between July 5th and July 9th.
And I can do that. I can do that. Since I just retired from my school job, I can do that. Uh, my wife is talking about me being a driver now, since my name is Stewart. I could be a Stuber.
Nice.
Uh, so I got to put my stamp on that and go from there. So,
Sounds like a plan.
help me out real quick. I don't know how much time do you have? I need to let you get rolling.
I'm good
Okay.
whenever.
I just wanted you to kind of talk a little bit about because of the fact that I talk a lot about women in rock and in music because I've been listening to it for so many years. I mean, there's all the way back to when I was a kid listening to Vicky Carr, Barbara Streisand,
Right.
and then later on with Heart and all the different bands and things like that. And it still ills me to hear the shit stories about how some of these women were treated, um,
Right.
as far as all the bullshit that they have to deal with. Oh, women can, just do yourself a favor and shut up. Um,
Right.
and so I have this I love for that female voice. In fact, I'd love to have one in my band as well because I love singing along with that too.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about Rebecca's style, something whatever. I just want to know what you feel in her voice when she performs, when she records.
She is so diverse.
Mm,
Um, you know, I almost hate to admit this, but I think I've kind of pigeonholed her a little bit
okay.
into the rock thing.
Yeah.
I would love to sit back and maybe help write, maybe produce a record of her just going off and doing everything that she loves. You
Nice.
know, um, and you know, we're talking everything from, you know, Heart and Blondie, Joan Jett. You know, Joan Jett's kind of along the lines of where we're at, but you know, she really loves like all of these other, you know, artists like Madonna and everything like that. Like I
Yeah.
could really see her doing like a pop record, like a
Nice.
almost an 80s pop record, and
Yeah.
really kicking ass at it. And I would love to hear that. I would pay to hear it. And this is my girl, this is my singer, you know.
Yeah, right. I mean,
So
we like to I don't know, man. When I have a friend of mine, you know, I was very fortunate when Guy came along and I was working with him in a band. We were a couple of male voices that worked really well together.
yeah,
And then when my good friend Sel and I got together in the church band, it was like we worked really well together. So I was really blessed to find those two, a male and a female, with whom I loved singing. And
right,
man, when you find that, you just like you said, you
yeah,
want to take care of that person, not in the way that, you know, not like, oh, I'll take care of, but you're like, you want to cultivate and help them cultivate what
right,
you hear
yeah,
in their talent.
yeah.
And I
Her
think you saying that is so brilliant. I think that's great.
Rebecca's voice still sends shivers down my spine when I hear her sing certain things,
That's awesome.
and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's amazing too. So yeah,
Yeah.
she's absolutely awesome.
Well, that's cool. Well, maybe what we can do is figure out a time when we can have you back on and we could do this again with you know, whatever else we could talk about, you
Yeah,
know. Um,
that'd be great.
yeah.
I mean, I could talk for hours.
You and me both, brother. I mean, that's why sometimes I'm like, we need to just do this again, you know, so that we're
Yeah,
not
no, I'd love to do that. We'll bring Rebecca in. You can talk to her.
yeah, yeah.
She does a great interview too. So
That's fantastic. Because I love a lot of these bands, all women bands even that are coming out, and then the
right,
ones where they have all these women that are fronting the bands. I
right,
mean, when Flora Jansen joined Nightwish, I just was like, well, okay,
right.
that's that's my gal. I mean, I'm like, you know, I always kid that I had a Viking crush on her. I mean, it's like it's she just her and her sister, beautiful voices. Good God, those albums they did with Star One with Lucasen are just amazing. Um,
I'm not super familiar with Nightwish or them, but
yeah,
I by the
Star
next time
One
I
is
talk to you, I'll know what you're talking about.
well, yeah, right. Star One is a thing where Russell Allen from Symphony X and other musicians and singers were on those. And the first album is all about movies and television programs that Lucas loved that take place in space. Star
Mm,
Wars, Star Trek, Black
nice.
Seven, and Enemy Mine, Alien, all these. And then the
Right.
second album that they put out was all Earth-based science fiction like Matrix and other things. The third
Nice.
album that they just put out about a year ago is all about time travel. So Bill and Ted, the Time Machine, all this. So
Right.
it's really interesting stuff. But oh my gosh, she she and her sister are just amazing.
Right on.
And
Yeah.
I about lost it when my wife found the live DVD of those guys from their first tour, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know this existed. So
Oh,
if
sweet.
I can admit that.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
so just as far as getting people tied in to the new album, and again, the new album is called
Ready or not.
Ready or Not, and Bombs Away is the new single. So check that out on YouTube, and There it is. Look. Oh, I need to get a copy of that.
We'll get you one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love the logo, by the way, too. Is that vinyl?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure is.
yummy. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Is it on a black vinyl? Do you guys do a color vinyl or?
It's on pink and black splatter,
That's what I wondered.
and then we have another one that's pink and darker pink splatter, I think. Can't
Right.
remember now.
That's awesome. Yeah, are you a vinyl fan? Are you a
I am a vinyl fan. I'm not a audiophile though.
Got you.
So I do love vinyl, and I have a pretty large collection, but I'm not super knowledgeable about it, and I don't obsess with it.
Right. I
Yeah.
know. I'm the same way. It's kind of like it's like years ago. Um, oh my God, Craig Goldie. I bumped into Craig Goldie at
Love
the
that
NAMM
dude.
show,
Yeah.
and he was with Engel amps at the time,
Yeah.
and I said, "Do you know what?" Just kind of to ask him, I'm like, "What kind of tubes do you got?" Because I used to work for St. Louis Music. I said,
Yeah.
"What kind of tubes do you use in there?" And he goes, I'm not really the technical guy. And that's when we were running all the different amps with blue LEDs and red LEDs behind the tubes.
Right.
And I said, well, it looks like you used the red ones. He just died laughing. He said, could I use that? I said, absolutely. All day, all night. It's all yours.
Right.
And I happened to go by that booth later, and he sees me, he goes, hey, the red ones. That's what I use, man. I go, you got it.
Perfect.
Have you been to the NAMM show?
I have not. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I've been invited several times, and I just haven't been able to make it. So
okay.
Yeah.
It's a timing thing.
Yeah.
Because it's worthwhile. I went out there
Right.
for SLM a few times, and then I went out there on my own after we had all been let go.
Right.
And then it was neat. It was neat. And I tried to help people even when I wasn't there to work. I was
Right.
helping people out.
Right.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
Then what's your next big show? Do you guys have another where there's somebody coming through and you guys have a great slot with the band? Or are you going out of town, out of state?
All of that. Yeah. I wish I had more specifics on everything.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I can even look it up and let everybody know later, just to check out your website too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the main thing too.
Again, I'm a web developer, and I do our website, so it might be a little outdated because I fix everybody else's things before I fix my own.
I got you.
But
it's also a curse too, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, right, exactly, yeah. So I know with the record coming out, we've got some pretty big shows in the works.
okay.
Nothing's like really concrete yet. And we are working on getting out of town for a little while this year,
Okay.
and then hopefully next year we can get way out of town. We'll put it that way.
Right.
Maybe out of the country.
That would be great.
Yeah.
If you need a roadie on the road, let me know.
Absolutely.
That'd be great. Unfortunately, I go back to I'm not the most technical person, but I can move a damn amp. That's for sure.
There you go. That's perfect. And we make sure everything's on wheels, so it makes it easy too.
I love wheels. I do wheels all over the place. My records, these cabinets that I did, these are old speaker cabinets.
Oh, nice.
And I gutted them and put wheels on them.
Perfect.
Like, yeah, putting wheels on these things.
Yeah.
So
nope. Can't go
So,
wrong with that.
so right there in the comments, folks, I went ahead and put in their website. You can check it out and make sure you key in. Now, as far as the merch is concerned, do you guys have where can we get the album through your website?
You will be able to once it is available.
Yes. Okay. So
So
that'll
on
be
the
after the 30th.
yeah, after the 30th. Right now you can actually pre-order the CD
Good.
at vanitymusicgroup.bigcartel.com.
Okay.
It's being released through Vanity Music.
Okay.
And those are pre-orders right now. I'll have to update you with the link once they're actually live.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you do go out there, you can also check out, they have the Kiss This CD out there, the Long Way Home CD, and the Heaven 7-inch single on vinyl is out there. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very,
and
very
that one was fun.
Oh man. And there's plenty of t-shirts out there. Wow, you even have skate deck designs out there.
Yep, we've got skate decks and shot glasses and
baby,
all kinds of good stuff. Yeah.
Damn, we should have been doing some shots on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I like the classic logo one, although I like the new logo one too. I mean, that's
right. I like them all too. So.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the beauty of it. Who does your graphic design stuff?
Actually, at this point in time, I do.
Good.
And then one of our former members that had to leave, his wife was a graphic designer, so she did a lot of stuff for us too. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Well, yeah, let me know if there's something you want me to throw down on. I can. That's what I do too. So.
Nice.
So I could even throw you a design. Usually I like do quid pro quo, just so that you can go, oh yeah, I like his stuff.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah. I actually did some t-shirt design. Speaking of Pat Travers, I did some things for him years ago.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
very cool. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, then, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to chat with you just for a second backstage. I can let you get rolling here. Let's have you back on. I'm probably going to do some more talk about the band and the different things that are going on. And of course, everybody be ready. Like you said, there's the pre-sale. What is that? You said it was Vanity Music.
It's Vanity Music Group.
Okay.
.bigcartel.com.
Cartel.com. Perfect. That's there in the I just posted that there in the comments, folks, so make sure you go there and check that out, and you can pre-order that. Check them out. You can check them out on YouTube. You can check them out on Spotify. I'm sure Apple Music as well.
All of them.
And let's just help these guys out. The one thing I haven't mentioned yet that I'm sure people are sick of hearing from me is I talk a lot about the music industry versus what I think we ought to do is more of the industry of music, where maybe we can take the reins a little bit more. I'm always wondering about that.
I agree.
I just don't understand how after so many decades, how people get so wrapped up in the thing where it all comes out in the wash, where you get screwed in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Guaranteed. Every time I've been in this cesspool for a long time, and here I am.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm always like, why isn't there a fair place where you can do that?
Right.
People don't have to take so much.
Because then other people can't make way more money than we do.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Well, then I will let you get rolling here. I'll talk to you backstage in a second here, and then I will get this going, folks. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much, Rev, for taking some time out and talking to us about your band, Baby and the Nobodies.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely, my friend. And we'll get you back on, and we'll do some more, and get Rebecca on here as well. And
great.
Man, we'll just have a hell of a time, man. This should be great.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
Hot glasses out.
Right on.
If you could have a shot on a show, what would it be?
I'm a Jack guy, so you know.
You're a Jack guy. All right. I'm a Jameson guy.
There you go.
I went to the distillery over there in Dublin. Not in Dublin. We went to the brewery in Dublin, but yeah, we went to the distillery. It was so cool.
Nice.
Well, all right, folks, take it easy. Have a good rest of the evening. Remember, when you walk out your door every day, you're in everybody else's world. They're not in yours. So act accordingly, will you? All right.
Amen.
Take it easy, folks.